In the Tall Grass, available on Netflix now, a film adaptation of a Stephen King novella. It seems that in recent years, King is the hottest thing around when it comes to adaptations. Just recently, we've had It, split into two parts. The Dark Tower, Pet Cemetery, Doctor Sleep is on the way, and now Netflix released In the Tall Grass. The setup is very simple. We open with a brother and sister driving through a vast field in Kansas. They stop along the way as the pregnant girl needs some air, and they overhear a little kid shouting for help from the tall grass that's growing near the road. He says that he cannot find his way out, so the pair venture into the grass to try and help the boy, get out. As it quickly turns out, there are some dark forces at play, and the field bends space and, in a way, also time for the people inside it. The brother and sister get separated, and they start meeting other people too. They continue to try to find a way out, but something inevitably draws them to the center of the field, where a mysterious dark rock is placed. So the film is basically a straight up horror. Not too deep, not too ambitious, just simple, scary entertainment. Apart from that, there is one underlying message, and it's pretty much just abortion is bad, don't do it. But it's heavy handed and presented in a way that made me scratch my head. I think the film would probably have been better without it. In any case, the bare bones of the film are based, like most horror films, on tension and characters. I think the tension aspect is done in an okay way, where you do constantly feel that something is off about the grass field and some of the people inside, but it's never really properly scary. I think throughout the entire film, there is only one memorable sequence, which is pretty much its climax. I liked it for how horrifyingly vile it became without really resorting to jump scares or nasty visuals. I won't say exactly what happens, but I like the feel of a fever dream that it taps into for a while there. In terms of the characters, I think that's where the movie suffers a bit more because none of them are fleshed out too much. We don't know enough about any of them to really connect and care about them and be with them in the story, feel scared for them. There is a moment when one guy is walking through the grass alone, talking to himself, and that actually works because it gives more perspective into his thoughts and state of mind. And I was wondering whether that's not a thing that is in the novella, that it's elevated by the internal monologues, which can't be translated all that well into film. I haven't read it, so I can't be sure, but I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case, because that's what the film was missing for me, the emotional background and perspective for characters. And coincidentally, that's what King tends to be really good at writing those internal monologues which expand and give depth to the people he writes about. It was certainly the case for It, where the adaptation was also missing that aspect, and even more so in The Tall Grass made me think of another King book, The Long Walk. In there, the premise is also extremely simple. 100 boys take part in a competition where they have to constantly walk at a certain pace throughout the US. The winner gets a prize, but the remaining 99 get killed if they slow down or stop. And against all reason, it makes for a terrific read because of that access to characters' thoughts. Apparently, an adaptation of that is also in the works, but fuck if I know how that will turn out. In any case, what I'm trying to say is, In the Tall Grass feels incomplete without that glimpse into the characters' minds, and as such, it cannot really rise above being an average film. It's not boring, it's not downright bad, but it just doesn't have anything in it that would make it memorable.